This evening, Dag and I want to talk about a goal we had around data democratization at Intercom and how we tackled this by building a system to harness user interaction data. By way of introduction, Dag and I both work in Intercom's Ireland office, which is our Centre for Research and Development. Dag is our data engineer focusing on our analytics infrastructure, and I'm a data scientist on our product analytics team. Before I talk about this project, I want to give a little bit of context into why data democratization was a goal in the first place. Then Dag will talk through the solution we built. We'll outline some of the benefits this solution brings, and Dag will finish up by talking about similar projects on our roadmap. One of the key values of the analytics team at Intercom is we ask the right question. This might seem like a really simple concept, but we believe it's easily the most pertinent one for product analytics. This is a value that we not only promote in our own team, but we also encourage our product owners to think in the same way. Any data scientist knows that there are big challenges in keeping to a value like that. But right now, we're going to focus on the practical ones. So at Intercom, the product analytics team is quite small in comparison to our R&D teams, who are spread pretty thin. Each feature requires a different way to gather data. And historically, there's been a reliance on our live data model to learn about customer behavior. So how can we maintain a level of quality in analytics at the scale that we're currently working at and into the future? Encountering these sorts of problems every day, it got me thinking. So our product provides our customers with a way to track user behavior on their app. This interaction data can be used by our customers as a context to communicate with their users. On the back end, we receive this data, process it, and send it to a data store called DynamoDB for use in the product. So on the product side, this information is presented in an easy-to-access way. So say I wanted to get information on our own customers who have visited the Insights feature of our Acquire product. I just add the filter I've highlighted here and view the customers who match the filter. The thing is, though, the job Intercom caters for is communicating with customers rather than providing some detailed historical picture for analytics. So the product favors simplicity. We get an up-to-date picture rather than a full historical one. And going back to our back end, while Dynamo does store that full historical picture and works really well for our product, it's not really suitable for analytics. So what if our analytics team could make the best of both worlds? A solution that gives us easy access to our data like our app, but gives us a full historical picture like DynamoDB.
Right. So basically, in order to analyze this data efficiently, we have to, by large, focus on two things. Put the data in a store which is optimized for analytics, and obviously to have the rest of the data that is related basically gives us a bit of context. So in Intercom, we made this very simple for ourselves. So we basically just put data in the same place, your classic data consolidation. So this translates to Redshift, you can see there. Right, so the focus of the project was basically how do we get this data into Redshift. Right, so this is like a pretty traditional pattern that you can use to put data into your data warehouse. You have like your so-called batch-based EL pattern. You extract it and you load it into your data warehouse every X hours. So this might seem like pretty attractive, but it didn't work. Yeah, it's a very subtle banner. Right, so. So anyway, why didn't it work? Basically because these events, they're really, really large in size. We've been like stockpiling them for ages, and there are more than 10 billion of them, basically. So it would have taken very long to follow this pattern. So here is what we kind of landed on, this type of conceptual design. We intercept the event, and we put it through a so-called real-time pipeline, and that basically gets ingested into our Redshift data warehouse. That way we don't have to read all of it. Right. Basically. So this is like our kind of more detailed slide, I suppose. So we intercept it, we put it onto a so-called stream. And this nice dinosaur here, he consumes them and basically performs some minor validation on them and cleaning and those kind of housekeeping tasks, right? And it gets ingested into Redshift. Right. After all this pain that we went through, this is what we end up with, basically. One interesting thing about this item is basically we have a metadata field, which can be considered like that's your contextual data that's been talked about earlier on, where you can put relative data which is specific to each event.
So now we have a full historical picture of events that we can perform analysis on. Here I'm running like a simple query in Redshift to look at all events that were triggered by customers visiting this Acquire Insights feature. And now we have that historical picture that we were looking for. And going back to this idea of data democratization, so to empower product owners with access to our data, we built some dashboards to sit on top of this new source of information. So here I've pulled up the same data that I was looking at in the Intercom app earlier, but now I have that full historical picture, as well as a picture of who is using the feature in relation to who is actually paying us for the acquired product.
Right, so just quickly go over the data roadmap that we have. So we just talked about the event data. We're also like just finishing up a project with our end user data. Which is kind of an interesting challenge because it's like a relatively high update workload, around 4,000 transactions per second. So similar project, and should be fun. This pretty much all we got. Please don't hesitate to contact us for if you're interested in any of this stuff. And basically, we Dag and Kevin at Intercom.io. That's our contact. Thanks.
Thanks very much, guys.